Hello, welcome back everyone to Active Mindfulness Mindful Mondays. As always, I'm Gemma. I'm a psychologist, a cognitive behavioural therapist and a mindfulness teacher, here with you every Monday for us to have a practice of some mindfulness or some meditation together. So mindful awareness, the awareness that really emerges when we learn how to pay attention to the present in a particular way, which is deliberately, on purpose and non-judgmentally, can be really helpful at helping us control and be with the way that we want to respond to different thoughts and emotions, rather than what we often do, which is just respond just very quickly. If something happens and it makes us feel angry, sometimes we respond angrily. If something happens and it makes us feel bad, sometimes we respond out of that. And the same happens in a more positive way. If something happens and it makes us feel good, we're likely to respond in a positive way. But this really puts us at the mercy, really, of our up and down emotional experience. And of course we are all up and down throughout the day, in response to things that happen, in response to how we're feeling more generally, our general mood, in response to our hormone levels, in response to so many different things. So developing the mindful awareness can be really helpful at giving us back choice in how we respond to things. And the way that we develop it is by practicing meditations. In particular today, what we're going to focus on is our hands. So our hands are really busy, hard-working areas of our bodies that we often don't pay an awful lot of attention to unless there's a reason to, like they're covered in something or they're hurting in some way. But today we're going to pay real attention to them. We're going to bring mindful awareness to them. If there is a reason why you can't use your hands for this meditation, then feel free to actually switch it to something else on your body. It could be your feet, it could be your face, it could be your skull, it could be your breath, whatever it is that you would like to really bring your attention to, that you would like to use as your anchor back to the present moment. So what happens when we're caught up in something? When we're caught up in a reaction or an emotion or something that's gone wrong, or we're thinking about something that could go wrong, or we're worrying about something, what happens is we go up here, straight into our heads, into our minds, into our brains as we attempt to problem solve and work it all out. And that can be helpful if what we're looking at is something that we can actually problem solve. But a lot of the time it might not be, because we can't necessarily problem solve our emotions or problem solve things that are 2 or 3 or 4 steps ahead of where we are right now that haven't actually happened yet. There are lots of things that this natural human tendency of wanting to problem solve just isn't appropriate for. So in those moments it can be more helpful to find an anchor back to the present moment, a way back to being here in your body, in your experience right now. And that could be while you're sat watching TV stressing out, or it could be in the middle of a sport that you play when perhaps something goes wrong and you need to kind of get back in the game, but your head kind of wants to go to what went wrong or what mistakes you made or what could be going on or what could happen. Either way, what we want to do is bring ourselves back to the present moment and back to an anchor. So we're going to practice that today through the use of our hands. So your first task is to find yourself a comfortable position. You may want to do this seated, in which the ideal is to have your feet flat on the floor and your spine self-supporting, because this isn't about falling asleep, it's about becoming aware of what's going on. Or if you want to do this laying down, feel free to do so as well, whatever is going to mean that you can take part the most and really be a part of this experience. Okay, so I'm going to invite you now, if it feels okay for you to do so, just to close your eyes. So it's an invitation to close your eyes. If it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel comfortable to do so, then instead, perhaps just letting your gaze just fall downwards, just lower it to the floor and just rest it lightly on the floor in front of you. We're going to start just by checking in. So what do I mean by that? Just by noticing what you're bringing to this practice right now. What thoughts, what feelings. Perhaps it's your body that you notice. Just noticing whatever it is that you're coming with. After all, it's here anyway. What we're doing is just acknowledging it. Just noticing it. As we do so, we're acknowledging it without getting caught up in any one particular thing. So rather than thinking about that one particular thing, we're just noticing that it's there in our mind. This is kind of like taking a register. So when you take a register, you would check who is here, but you maybe wouldn't just ask them how they are and all about their day. You'd just check they're here and then move on to the next person. So taking a register of the thoughts and feelings that are here right now. And when you're ready, let's see if you can take your attention. It's currently quite wide, that maybe had thoughts and feelings in the body involved in it, and just narrow it down. Narrow your attention down to the hands. So perhaps at first, connecting with that sense of touch. Perhaps your hands are in your lap, touching each other or touching your lap. Perhaps your hands, if you're laying down, are lying alongside your body or on your body. Just notice that sense of touch and connection. The places where they are connecting with something, and the places where they're not. Just paying real attention to your hands. We take for granted so much of the day. It may help at this point if you take your hands and allow them to rest, not touching each other, and facing palms up if that feels comfortable for you to do so. Just seeing if you can check in to the very tips of your fingers. Can you feel the tips of your fingers? Can you feel any sensations within them? Whether you can or can't, it's not right or wrong. Noticing a blank or nothing there is just as much an experience as anything else. want to just play around with your hands a little bit now by allowing the fingers to move. And you can choose at this point if you'd like to open your eyes to see your fingers move. Feel free to do so. You might want to scrunch them up slightly. And open them. You might want to allow your fingers to touch other fingers. And just see if you can notice what that's like, what the touch of each finger feels like. As you look at your hands, try and bring a quality of looking, as though you are looking at something for the first time. Noticing points where the light shines on them, or shadows. You might want to move your fingers again to scrunch them up and open them, perhaps varying the speed. Sometimes fast movements, sometimes slow. Just tuning into them. Taking your time also to allow yourself to notice the palms of your hands. Seeing what you can notice in terms of feeling the palms of your hands if your eyes are closed. Perhaps using some fingers to feel another palm, or a palm to feel a palm. Seeing what you can notice about the texture. Perhaps you can notice the lines, or the way the lines crinkle as you move. And seeing if you can also notice if the mind, being a busy place and its natural response is to think, if the mind at any point takes you away from the hands, from the actual experience of the hands, perhaps it takes you into thoughts of, I like these hands, I dislike these hands, they give me pain. Even if you're not feeling pain right now, that thought might come up. Just noticing if the mind takes you away from the experience of the hands as they are right now in this moment. And if so, remembering that that's not your fault, that it's not a sign that you're doing anything wrong. The mind likes to think. Your task is just to notice where the mind has taken you. And when you're ready, guide your attention back to the hands. So imagining your attention like a torchlight in a dark room. It lights up what you shine it on. And in those moments when we notice the mind wander, just going to pick up the torchlight of attention and guide it back to the hands. If you have to do that many times, that's okay. It's not a sign that you are doing anything wrong. When you're ready, taking a moment just to play with your hands, to bring a playfulness to your hands. Perhaps playing games with them as you might have done as a child, or making shadow puppets. Just noticing what that's like for you to experience your hands in that way. Allowing them to move if they want to, or to be still if you would like to be still. When you're ready, allowing yourself once again to close your eyes if they're not already closed. And just using your mind's eye, this ability that we have to picture things in our mind. To go through and picture and be with the last hour in the life of your hands. Where have they been? What have they done? What have they touched? What have they experienced? Simply reliving the last hour of your hands' lives. When you're ready, we're just going to start the process of coming back to the world around us. Just by seeing if you can take your attention that's been quite narrow, it's been focused on your hands, and just allow it to widen, to notice the whole of your body sat here in awareness. Perhaps notice the sense of touch, of connection between your feet and the floor. The seat and your body. Connection even of the clothes. And the subtle movement of air as it moves around your skin. And allowing your attention to widen further. To take in the sounds coming to your ears. The obvious, louder sounds. And also the sounds beneath the sounds. They're a little harder to hear. We usually miss. When you're ready, letting yourself open your eyes, and with the same mindful awareness that you gave your hands, allow your eyes to take in what you can see, with that same quality of seeing it as though it's for the first time ever. Noticing the shapes, the colours, things close and far away, the light and the shadows.